Hello, dear football freaks, and very welcome to the 4th episode of Talking K-Town, the podcast where we talk about K-Town. My name is Matze, and talking to myself would be very boring, so I'm very happy that my dear and beloved friend Steven is again with me. Steven, how are you, my brother?
Hello, and servus from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm doing fantastic.
That is very, very great. And I think we're both doing pretty good because tomorrow is Friday, right? And it's not just Friday, it's match day. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the match tomorrow, but we still have a lot to talk about because we skipped like 3 games now because of my unfortunate corona positive results and my almost dying on the couch, but I was still with my club. But we have no, to be honest, we have 2 games and 1 train wreck to talk about.
Yeah,
if you ask me.
Two matches and an utter shit show, we can call it.
To put it in a sentence, yeah. But first up, again,
most importantly,
crack open a beer.
Prost.
And Prost, everybody.
My buddy dropped this beer off to me the other day.
What you got there?
From a European market, it's called Krusovice. It's a Czech Republic Pilsner.
Okay.
I have never seen it before. It's pretty good. It's a Czech lager beer. It's actually really. It's not a Pils. It's a lager. But I didn't think that the Czech Republic was known for their beers, but this is pretty good. So I'm happy with it.
That is really, really great because getting good beer is always awesome. And the Czech Republic has a bunch of pretty good beers, as well as France, because always everybody says like France, their beer tastes like crap or something. And I would agree, but there is one special kind of beer. It's called 33 Export. So it's a lager beer, and it comes in like these tiny bottles, which you can like clean up with 3 zips or something. But it is a real recommendation on this point. If you're in France, check it out, or if you get your hands on in that European store, it is worth. If you ask me,
I will have to keep my eyes open for it because I enjoy drinking export beer from this. It's called the Euro PV market, and they cater to a lot of the. In my part of Ohio, is a lot of Eastern European people, a lot of people from the Balkans, from Russia, from Poland, from the Czech Republic, and all these people that live here now want food and drinks and everything from their homeland. So this store carries it, and you never know what you'll find. So every time I go in there, it's a treat because I'm seeing all these weird items. I'm like, oh, here's a Russian stout. Here's a Polish stout. You know, weird, different
stuff.
Beers from other countries that you're not used to seeing before. So
I definitely know what you mean. It is so strange. You know that Bella and I were really around the world with traveling, and it's always a treat going into a store there and just checking out like the candy or stuff. It is always weird and always funny. So but beer is also one of the bigger topics.
Oh yeah. I have not met a beer that I did not like.
Except Kölsch.
Yeah, it's okay. It's drinkable. It's drinkable on an afternoon where you don't want to get drunk, but you want to have something to cool down with. A Kölsch is all right, but I prefer a Radler. That's my favorite summertime drink. You know.
Oh yeah. Beer with lemonade.
Yeah.
That is always good.
Oh yeah.
So, the 3 games is the home game against Braunschweig.
Yeah.
The away game in Hamburg.
Okay.
Oh, did you know that you call Radler in Hamburg, you call it Alster?
Alster? No, I've never. that must be a local slang term, maybe, for it, or
if you're a tourist there and you're trying to order in a bar a Radler, they always correct you because they call it Alsterwasser. It is like it's completely forbidden to say Radler.
Oh wow!
And I learned this the hard way because I was in a bar meeting a bunch of friends there, and they said what I want to drink, and I said a Radler, and they were like, "Okay, go ahead and order one." So that was pretty funny, and
you'll find out the hard way.
Exactly. And the last game was the Trainwreck, the shit show, as you called it earlier. The home game against Regensburg.
Thank God the only match that I was able to watch completely was the Hamburger SV. That was on ESPN. It was a fantastic, and I watched it, part of it before I had my I was playing in a cornhole tournament with some friends, and now that season's over. But I watched, I think, the first half of it, and then I followed along on my OneFootball app on my handy to keep the scores updated. And, you know, to learn that we, you know, had a draw was really, to me, impressive, given that HSV is pretty much the team that everybody thinks will promote back to the Bundesliga. By finishing in the first place, but
well,
the other games I didn't get to watch.
They think about this like 4 years now, and they don't get promoted.
Yeah.
So, but first, let's get this straight. The home game against Braunschweig. What are your thoughts about it? Because I think you saw like the highlights.
I saw the highlights. I saw Boris Tomiak's goal in the 55th minute. That looked really good. I was looking at the stats here. I use Google Sports because it pulls up all of your statistics. You know, time of possession, pass accuracy, and I was very impressed to see that we had the ball more than half of the time, 56%. We had 19 shots, but only 10 of them were on target. So. It seems to me that we have the offense that can score, but for some reason there's something that's not clicking. You know, when they have an opportunity, whether it's our inability to shoot the ball accurately, or whether defense knows who likes to attack and they make it impossible to cross the ball in front. Terrence Boyd has had so many chances to score this year, and he's either been wide, or it's hit the bar, or he's kicked it over. I think we just need to figure out a way to get this offense back to what it was like last year, right at the end when we made promotion, when everything was clicking. We were getting 2, 3, 4 goals every match.
And this is exactly the point which we were talking about, like the last times.
Yeah.
We need too many chances.
Yeah.
Braunschweig scored, and my brother said teams are afraid to score against us because they know they get the draw immediately, and it was the same thing. They scored, and it was like, you have the stats on. Was it not like 5 minutes later? 3 minutes?
Yeah, it was 52nd minute. Leon Lauerbach scored for Eintracht Braunschweig.
Yeah,
and then we scored 3 minutes later at the 55th minute.
They don't want to score anymore because they know we're going to draw. So, and I don't know what it is, what's going through their minds that they don't fight like this when we're having the 0-0 on the how do you call it? This thing where the score is shown? Scoreboard.
Oh, yeah, the scoreboard, yeah.
So they need to fight like they were behind 2 goals like every time.
Yeah.
And I'm really getting angry about it because it's always bad to lay behind, and we were going to talk about the the first game here. Which had the same situation, but in the highlights it was that one of our players made a foul and he got shown the red card, and we need to be fair with this point. I always complain about the VAR, but in this situation he was very helpful. The referee checked the situation again and he said, okay, he got the ball first and then the player, so it was a foul but not a red card, so that is really, really good for us. It was Clement, and but he and Nihus are two players which I have really problems with them because of the way they're playing. I always prefer Chifchi and Wunderlich because I always have the feeling that they were more aggressive, more oriented to the offense. And what do you think about this?
I think I've never seen Chifchi play an entire match. He usually comes off the bench in the second half. Why they don't experiment with maybe starting him?
My faults, exactly.
Try something different.
Yeah.
You know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, we've got all of these, all of this evidence that says, hey, you know, he does better if you start him early. You know, mix up the lineup,
and then he brings him on the field at the 70th minute. Is it called like the 71st minute? You know what I mean? Like the last 20 minutes of the game, which is way too less to change the game around. And I have no clue what is going on with our coach's mind that he's always sticking. You just said it. We have the problems here. We see the problems and we see how we can fix it, but he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he thinks that if he stays with the same system, the same lineup, the same formation, that the players will maybe bond, and then the problems will work its way out on their own. But so far, it's not happening.
Exactly.
There's no catalyst in our offense right now. I think the way that we're playing right now is we're playing to draw. You know, we're more worried about giving up a lot of goals, which of course last week didn't help. But we're not gearing towards an attacking offense. We're hoping to get a fast break, maybe a quick kick outside where one of our guys can dart down the field and get a 2-on-1 or a 4-on-2 where you have, you know, one of your strikers that are approaching the box, and maybe you could sneak a guy around, cross it, and kick it in. But the teams are stacking up their defense and playing the same style that we are. So these games they're not moving. They're very stagnant. There's not a lot of ball movement. You know, that's my layman's version of it from what I can see and what I can understand about.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree. You just said it. We had the ball for 56% of the time.
Yeah,
and even though we got it more than half of the time, we had chances, but we didn't use them. And I feel we're extremely slow. Like we don't have the extreme speed and passion to run like hell. But there are other games like, and now we can change topics and go to the game against HSV, which is amazing. It's just amazing. I was sitting in front of my computer because Bella was in Hamburg. I wasn't because, as I said, I was positive, and I was watching it, and it felt like this is a huge, like if you need a commercial for the second league in Germany, this is the match you need to show. Yeah. It was so passionate. It was so intense. The crowd were amazing. We were there with 10,000 K-Town fans.
Yeah.
and the pyro was so awesome. The choreography at the beginning.
I have got a lot to say about that match.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
I have so much to say.
I'm listening.
I've never seen 10,000 guest fans anywhere. And granted, I've only been a fan of the club for, since 2018. So that's coming up on 5 years now. But I'm sitting in the living room watching it. And I think I stepped out to take a shower or something. It was halftime, and I came back or something. And that's when I saw the entire guest block in flames. The TV had this big red spot on there. I'm like, it looked like my TV was on fire. And I just stood in awe. I have never seen a guest crowd that big. You nailed it perfectly. That game is it's the quintessential second division matchup. You have HS Val. They were called the Derdino. They were one of the oldest clubs in the league. Same with K-Town. We were one of the founding members of the Bundesliga. So this is the matchup that people want to see. It's the Dino that's trying to get back, and we're trying to get back to the first league. And it's all of the good football in the Bundesliga. Everybody's tired of hearing about Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. These two clubs here are historic in their own right. And for them to put us, I got to watch it on ESPN. It was one of the only games that I've seen completely this year. But I was so proud of our fans, the electricity, the atmosphere in that building. I can't imagine what it was like. I saw so many videos from different people, filming it with their phones and everything. And you get goose flesh when you're watching it.
Yes.
Get the pimples and everything. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. We do the best pyro in German football. I've been told, and I think it's true, but we were the first club in
Germany,
Bundesliga to bring pyro to a game.
Yep.
And it shows. I mean, we're doing it almost. I remember last season when we were on a collision course to get promoted. It seemed like every match there was pyro that was breaking out in the guest block, and it was great.
Yeah.
The match, I was very happy with a 1-1. I'm looking at the stats here. We only had the ball 32% of that time. Again, not a lot of movement, but we scored at the end to save it, and that's drama.
But that was my expectation, to be honest, because HSV were on first place in the league, and they're playing a really good season, and so I thought, like, okay, I'm happy with the draw, and well, the game started, and they played like I was expecting it to be. Like, they were fighting, they had a lot of opportunities, but Lute did a very good job to keep our goal clean, at least for the most part. And they scored in the
24th minute.
44th, yeah.
Yeah, 24th here, yeah.
I'm always confused, like, saying the I know the number is 44, but 44th is always so strange to me.
Yeah.
But we really did a good job, and we had also good chances in the first half. But I think the 1-0 for the first half was okay, and then the second half started, and Boyd was running against straight to Raab, one of our promotion, the promotion
players,
keeper, but now he's sitting on the bench. And he just got his foot in the way, so it needed to be a corner. But the referee asked, have you been on the ball? And he just said, no, I wasn't. So, which is not sportsmanlike. This is not okay, especially if it was your former club.
Yeah.
Is it former club?
Former, yeah.
Former, yeah. And yeah, but still, the game were really intense, and then the penalty shot. Oh my god, I was sitting there sweating like hell. The penalty was okay. It was deserved, no doubts about it. But the player who were kicking the penalty, he missed the last 4 of them. And then in this kind of situation, you don't take this responsibility. And Luther, he was flying in the air and got the ball. I was cheering like there's no tomorrow with my cracked voice. You heard it over WhatsApp and through voice message. And
yeah, to get a stop as a keeper on a Elfmeter is very difficult. I mean, most of the time when you get a penalty kick, you're already saying, "Oh, it's going to be a point for us," a goal. Yeah. But the way he started it, and I watched the video several times. He kind of, they all jump with their hands up, and they kind of bounce around to kind of maybe throw it. And it looked like he started to move in one direction, and then he changed. And I think at that moment when the kicker looked down to kick the ball, he had already decided, I'm going to go to the right side, and that's where Luther had dropped. Yeah. And all of it was just a matter of putting his hands up to deflect the ball. As much as I've been not a big fan of Luther this year, that was one of his shining moments. So
it definitely were, but unfortunately, if you asked me, he was not very shiny in the 1-0.
No,
because I always feel like he's getting the ball and he doesn't grab it. He just let him bounce off his hands, and unfortunately, always into the middle field of the penalty area.
Yeah,
it's always like there is another player there. So
you're giving the team another
shot. Yeah.
Instead of grabbing it, you're bouncing it, and you're giving them another. Oh, I'm right here. I'll kick it back in, or they'll head it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's definitely you don't want to give the other team all these extra opportunities to kick a goal. Period.
Yeah. Very, very true. And but excuse me, after the penalty shot, it was 53 seconds later when we scored.
Yeah.
And I was just finished cheering because of the penalty, and then we scored, and I was like getting completely nuts.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, but wait, there's more to cheer about.
That's right.
That was so awesome. I was so happy, and afterwards, I think it was like a fight with a bare knuckle fight. It was on one side, then on the other, and the one side back to the other, just from box to box. But we had the chances to make the lucky punch, as we calling it in Germany. But it just fell as well. So both teams deserved a victory, so I think the draw is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And the very good thing is that, as I said, my wife was in Hamburg. A lot of my friends were there, and there were no trouble, no problems. They were meeting like HSV fans in a bar or something before and after the game, and there were no problems, no bad blood, no anger. Both fan groups were very happy with the result, because they saw both of the teams fighting on the pitch for us. Just amazing, and I think we left a very big impression when it comes to ultra scenes in the second league, because
I saw so many videos taken on YouTube when I did a search for HSV versus K-Town, and all these video blogs of, hey, I went to this match. Here's like the pyro and the fan reaction, and it was funny just seeing, all the Hamburg fans like videotaping the pyro in the block, and they were kind of like, wow, good job. Yeah, they've always seemed like a good group of fans. Not a city that would think, oh, we hate K-Town. It's kind of a good feeling between the two groups of fans, I think, and maybe we can form a friendship over this. Who knows?
You said it in the beginning. We have a lot to share about. We're both founders of the Bundesliga. We were both a very, very long time in the first league together. We were going through very hard times in our history. We have a lot of German championships and pokal winnings and stuff. We share a lot together, and because of the distance, the huge distance between Hamburg and Kaiserslautern, there were always like a friendly feeling, if you asked me. Because I love going to Hamburg. It's a very beautiful city. I really enjoy being there, and it doesn't matter if I met HSV or St. Pauli fans. They were all extremely nice, and I've never had any problems. I just talked to for myself, for a guy I was 4 times in Hamburg with K-Town, just to see matches there, and like 4 times more with friends and family. So never any anger. This is so great. Yeah.
One of the biggest regrets that I have in my 3 years in Germany was not traveling to Hamburg. I went to Köln. I've been to Dusseldorf. I never made it to Hamburg. I had planned on going there in 2020, but we all know, of course, what happened. But most of the travel videos that I watch, Hamburg is just a big party town. I mean, you have the Reeperbahn, you have a big music scene there, punk rock stuff. I know a lot of the St. Pauli people are more like your punk rock crowd. So it seems to me that both sets of fans are probably friendly in their own way. I know St. Pauli is more of a political-driven club, and Hamburg is more of your traditional football club. But I would never even ever foresee anybody giving me an issue if I wore my K-Town hat or a scarf in the city. You sure wouldn't do that in Mannheim, but
no, of course not. But I think there's also that spirit of Hamburg. It's like a very world open town because of their huge harbor with their extreme amount of tourists and stuff. You need to be very tolerant because you don't want to screw yourself with attacking like regular fans or something. So I think this is a very good situation, but I don't know if you saw it, but there were the city derby between St. Pauli and the HSV, and they were their brother. Are you there?
I here.
Oh. Hang on.
I watched the video clip of that.
Okay. Oh, you're back. Okay. Have you seen like the extreme violence going on ahead of the game?
Yeah, I saw the video of the HSV. It was like a fan march, and they were being followed by the police. Which I'm familiar with that when we have the derby matches where you have 3,000 Polizei people there with the big. What they call Wasserwerfer, big tanks with the water cannons.
Yeah.
I only saw brief videos of them, but I didn't see any of the violence. I just saw a lot of the HSV chants going on. But did something happen, like fights or?
Well, there were a bunch of St. Pauli fans, like 300 or something, which were on a ground where they're not allowed to be. Like an area, and it is always confusing because the one side says, the St. Pauli side says, we don't want to do anything. And the police said, okay, you were trying to attack. But the real intense thing here is that there are recordings of policemen, like there was one guy laying on the ground and 2 policemen were kneeing on his body and using
I saw that video.
Their elbows to hit him on the head and
punching him on the side
and the kidneys and stuff. So this is extreme. And don't get me wrong, if there is any trouble and the police needs to use violence to stop these people, but it needs to be in an okay measure. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this was way too harsh, if you ask me. So I hope that there is some kind of way to regulate the situation, because we were playing in a friendship game in Brentford once in England, London, and we were sitting at the bar. Do you know the movie Hooligans?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
and
with Frodo in it.
Exactly. And exactly at this spot in this pub, we were sitting there, and my wife and I were sitting in front of it, and I had a beer, and there was just one policeman walking back and forth in the middle of the street, and I was always watching him, and I asked him at one point I said, okay, I need to ask him. So I stood up, walked toward him and asked, like, okay, I don't know if you recognize, but I was watching you for the last few minutes. He was like, yeah. I was like, I have 2 questions. The first one is your vest, is it bulletproof? And he was like, yeah. I was like, on the front as well? And he was like, I hope so. Because on the backside it looked like this thick, and at the front like just this. So that confused me a little. And then the more important thing were, he had a sign with his name on his chest. And I was like, you have your name on it. Did the situation get worse or better because of this sign? And he was like, way better. Because you're not a policeman anymore. You're a policeman which has a name. And this is making you a human being, not like a machine, quote unquote. And we need to have something like this in Germany, because now they're wearing like this and having the helmet on. You can't even recognize who this guy is, and that's it. So that really makes me sad.
The policemen here in the States all have, they'll have a badge that's visible with their badge number.
Yeah.
And then they also usually have a bar, like a gold bar with, it'll be like PTL Barnes, Patrolman Barnes. Because you have different ranks. You have like Patrolman, Sergeant. In England, I think they're called Constable. If you're a policeman, you're a constable, is what they call.
Exactly, yeah. I think,
they're cops there. And it makes you, it shows that you're a policeman, but at the same time you have a name. And you're just there doing a job, and if you don't fuck around, we'll treat you really well. But if you decide to act out, well, we'll have to break out the billy club and...
So this is the argument of the policeman saying, if you don't have to hide something, what's your problem? And the same way I can argue to them. And they said, okay, if you have a name sign on your uniform, they say, like, okay, there could be revenge or something of people who are angry. And this is a point I accept, but can't we make it like just a number for every let's say every match day? Everybody gets a number, an individual number, and then you say, okay, it was policeman 65309. So, and then you can check the list, and there is policeman 65309. It was Hans Müller. There you go. That would be way, way, way better, but no. But yeah, we were talking about football over here.
Yeah, our train of thought got derailed. Sorry.
Yeah. And the match itself was a really, really slap to the face of the HSV. Man, 3-0 for St. Pauli. That is so huge for them. It's so amazing.
And now, well, if you look at the table, St. Pauli is way down towards the bottom. I mean, they might be fighting for relegation. So it's big for them in points, but also big because what do they call it? The Stadt Derby. You know, it's one of the biggest derbies in Germany.
Yep.
I guess you do have the Stadt Derby in Berlin with FC Union and Hertha.
Yep.
So it's one of, we don't have many towns where you have two clubs in the same area.
Exactly.
Except for like Munich, you have 1860 and you have Bayern, but they're so far apart that you will never see that derby unless they play in like a Pokal, like we did with, when we got Mainz and drew them. They would have to draw 1860, which I think that would be amazing to have a Bayern 1860 Pokal.
That would be so awesome.
Match.
But on the other hand, it looks very good for our friends from Munich because they're still on second rank on the table in the third league. And I think they're on a good way to get promoted. Yeah. Really?
Really watching them with interest. And I've got friends that live there. My friend Isi, she was from Otterberg. But grew up there or grew up in Munich, but she lives in the area called Untergiesing, which is close to the Grunwalder Stadion. So if you go out of the stadium and down the hill was her apartment building by the Isar River.
That is awesome.
I got to see that when I visited her there.
Okay.
But Munich, I love the city. Munich is really neat.
Very nice.
The Hofbräu house was really amazing. All the history, the Rathaus with the Glockenspiel that turns around, and all the squares and everything was just mind blowing to see it.
Yep.
To see it on TV in history, but to see it in person was really special.
I can't agree more.
Yeah.
It is a very beautiful town. Yeah. So. But are we done with the HSV game?
I think so.
I think so too.
Now we have to tackle the Trainwreck.
The thing which. So, one of my co-workers, I shared an office room with him. So. He knows how much I love K-Town and how much I love Kaiserslautern as a football club. And so we always said, like, I take you together to a game. Into the West Curve, you need to feel this. And he joined me. For the first time ever, he was on the Betzenberg for a football game.
Oh, wow.
And then he saw this crap. Man, I was pissed. When I bring someone into the Fritz-Walter Stadium, it's always like a show off. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's always like you are walking into my freaking living room, brother.
Yeah.
And then seeing our team losing like this.
Yeah.
And it was so insulting, to be very harsh. But come on, they had 2 crossbar kicks.
Yeah.
It's 2 of them. And Regensburg is, come on, who the fuck is Regensburg?
Yeah. The way that I look at it is every team in any sport that's played is going to have a train wreck game, and I think this might have been our turn where nothing happens right. You have a lot of shots, but they hit the bar or they're just wide. 59% possession, so we have the ball. a lot.
Yeah.
We had 17 shots, only 4 of which were on target.
Only 4.
It's just one of those games where it wasn't your day. I hope that they take that and say, look, we were so close, we had something going. Let's work on it the next time. You know.
I agree, but we were again 1-0 at the halftime, and I was hoping that our coach is finding the correct words for a perfect answer in the second half. And
Yeah.
what happened? Nothing happened. Really, nothing happened. And again, Clement and Nihus. Why? I have no idea. My father, he is one of the fairest sportsmen I've ever met in my freaking life, because he always says, like, the better team needs to win, and he is always happy when K-Town wins, because he know how much I love Kaiserslautern, but he's always like a very fair guy, but he is so strictly against Boyd, because he always says he needs way too many chances and way too many good chances to score.
Yeah.
Like, you have 200% chances and none of them is in the goal. Why?
Yeah.
And I really don't know why.
Yeah.
But you just said it. And I think you found the perfect words for it. Every team needs a Trainwreck game. Yep. And hopefully this was ours. Because we had the game against the HSV was the 6th draw in a streak. Never ever in the history of Kaiserslautern we had this kind of streak. Yep. Of course, there were very, very good draws against Darmstadt, which was unfortunately a draw because we were 4-3 in lead, or the game against Heidenheim, also very good draw. Yeah. But then you need to get 3 points. You need to stay in the league. And hopefully this was the slap in our face, the ringing bell. Call. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't want to talk about this freaking game because it was so disappointing to see our team fighting like hell against HSV and now losing everything they build it up, you know?
Yeah. I watched it was only like a 10-minute video from Sky Sports, the highlight on YouTube, and it was very tortuous to see.
Torturous
is a
very good
word.
Like
I would rather have somebody sticking me with a needle instead of watching that stuff. It was just garbage football.
Brother, come on! You like getting stick with needles. I know how your your arms look like. You can show it. Yeah, man. So I know how they look like. So getting pointed with a needle isn't as hard as we think.
No, not that bad.
But, but this was what's the word? Torturous. It was torturous.
Yeah. You have to be a sadist or a masochist. That likes being tortured to watch that.
To rewatch it, yeah.
And that was 10 minutes of my time watching the highlights, which were no highlights for us, but highlights for them.
Yeah, and I was standing 90 minutes in the block. Come on. And sometimes
I bet that stadium was pretty quiet for most of the game, I would imagine.
To be honest, the spirit was from beginning not as extreme as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
But the more disappointing and a point which made me really sad was the fact that the West Curve was well, not almost. It would be way too extreme. But a quarter of the fans were leaving before the game was ending.
Yeah.
Before the game ends. So that really, really made me angry. And a lot of people on Facebook and friends of mine, we were more talking about this point than the game, because everybody knows that game was crap. But the behavior of the fans were also not okay. Yeah. Because you stay in the block until the game is freaking over. Mm-hmm. And
then you can walk out.
Exactly. And if you don't want to show your respect to the team because they played like shit today, okay, this is also for me not the solution, because showing them your emotions, like cheering them up for the upcoming game, showing your anger about their bad results, or just standing there and doing nothing is even better than walking out. I always think like this is not how it should be. And then you hear the excuses like they don't want to get in traffic or something. Come freaking on. If we would have won this game 5-0, you wouldn't care about the freaking traffic, would you?
Oh yeah, you'd be sticking around anyway.
Exactly. So these freaking excuses, no.
Matze, I saw a lot of bad football in my 3 years there in the third league. A lot of games that was like, there's 2.5 hours of my life that I will never get back. But you know what? Look at it this way, and this is for the people that walked out. How many games did we miss with Corona where we had an empty stadium? How many games after? We would have been happy just to sit in there.
Yeah.
And then even after the restrictions went away and they started allowing, 5,000 fans in the Sud Curve and the Nord Curve. I lost so many matches during my final year there that I'm watching this and like, for all these people that are leaving, I wish I could like be on Star Trek and beam myself from my house to be in the curve, just to be amongst my friends again.
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah, I would love to see them do well, but any game where you're with your friends in the stadium, you either celebrate together and be happy, or you put your arm around them and say, "Oh man, this sucked, but I'm glad that I was in my living room today with you." And
that was
when you
perfect words.
When you walk out of the stadium, you're pretty much just you're flipping the finger off to not only the team but your fellow fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, football is you go there to. I mean, the main goal is to watch your team and support your team, but you do it as one. You may have 40,000 fans, but you're one family. So
exactly.
If you start leaving, it's almost like you're leaving your family. So I would rather stay there and be pissed and yell at the club while they're standing there to hear my professionals.
Brother, could you repeat that, brother?
Yeah.
Could you repeat that? The connection was.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, I was going to say, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Perfect.
Okay. Even if you stand there at the end of the match and the team walks over to the West Curve like they always do, you can either clap them and congratulate them. Yeah, you lost, but we're going to support you. Or you can yell. How many times did the team have to walk over to the West Curve when we were in the third league after those horrible years where we were fighting up, and the crowd would be flipping them the middle finger, and they would just have to stand there and take it.
Exactly.
And that's they're made. You have to do that as you're a professional, so you have to expect boos and whistles if you're playing like shit. But to leave, I would rather stay there and voice my frustration than to just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna,
I'm just gonna leave."
Traffic. Yeah. I would give anything to be in K-Town right now, even after a loss, just to hang out with you, to hang out with my friends in the West Curve. I would have given my left leg to beam myself over there to be in the West Curve again. you know.
You know, this is perfectly said, because I remember a game in the third league where we were playing against, I think it was Zwickau, and we lost because we played so bad, so extremely bad. There's a recording of me which I didn't even know that my wife was recording. I was standing there for 15 minutes straight, and the West Curve was almost clear of fans, and I was just standing there and scream my frustration. Fortunately, my friends were still there, and I was yelling toward them, but just to scream out my freaking frustration. And this is way better. But don't leave. You're leaving is leaving your family alone. As you said, it's not just the players on the pitch. These guys, we always thought like Rob is going to be one of our biggest players, and now he's in Hamburg. So these guys, these are changeable, if this is a correct term. But I know people in the West Curve which are there for more than 40 years now. So this is the family. We are Kaiserslautern, not the players on the pitch. And you're not leaving your family. And if you're standing in the West Curve, you're part of this family. If you want to, if you don't like it, just don't come in the West Curve. And of course, there are some people which you don't like. It's like the unfriendly uncle or something. But he is a part of the family, and you have to accept this.
And the thing that explains it perfectly, when they had, I think it was at the end of 2019, it was the last match, the last home match, where they had the big choreography, and they had the three different types of fans. You had the Kuta, the tree coat wearer, and the hooligan, all with their arms around each other, with, it said something, three different people, one family. And it represented the three different kinds of people that you have in the curva. You have the ultras, you have the regular fans like me and you, that we wear our hoodies or I wear my tree coat. Then you have the hooligans, and then you've got the kuta, the guys that wear the denim vests. And it was a perfect representation of the different kinds of people you see in the block. Of course, everybody knows the ultras because they're the ones that are doing the songs. You have the guy with the megaphone. You've got all the banners flying around. So you don't need to have an identity to be in the West Curve. The only thing that you do need is to stay there from the start to the finish. That's the only thing. It's the only requirement.
Absolutely. And I see myself like an individuum. Like I am who I am. I am who I am. But if I'm going into the stadium, into the block, I'm not an individuum anymore. I'm a part of a huge crowd, and everybody serves the players, and the players serve Kaiserslautern, Erster FC Kaiserslautern. So no one, no fan, no ultra, no president of our members, no player is bigger than the Erste FCK. No one. And it's I don't know if I've told this already, but I've once had an interview, and I needed to compare football to something, and I was like, football is a religion. Your team is your religion. Because all the points which makes a religion is present in football. Many people going to a place to serve something, they cheer like the songs in a church, and you feel it. If you are a real fan, you're not like just on match days. I'm 24/7 a K-Town fan, and this is all what religion makes. So as I said, we were more angry about the people who left the stadium earlier because it felt like turning back on us.
Yeah.
And this is...
I mean, sports, you know, it's different.
What the hell? Why am I so dark?
You're dark, I was going to say.
Is this going to be better anyway? Let's see.
It's a little bit better.
Yeah, but I can't lean forward the whole freaking time.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let's make this light a little brighter. It's a little better. What the hell is going on with
It just happened like instantaneous. I saw you, and then all of a sudden, I think it's maybe the camera settings or something.
I have no idea. What the hell?
But you look better now.
But no one needs to see my my hairy, unshaved face. So I think this is better. Yeah, a little. I'm sorry.
But yeah, you said it perfectly. Sports is, and it's the same in America. And let me preface what I'm about to say is I don't like politics mixed with sports. It's one reason why I do not like St. Pauli. I don't believe that politics has any place in sport because we have sports to get away from our normal life, like our work and bad relationships and nasty politics. I want to go to my game and just watch sport because it's my opportunity to escape that stuff, you know. So I might be standing between two people, and one might be left, one might be far right. But in that moment, we don't know each other's politics, but we have our tree coats, and we're arm in arm, and we support the club. And then when we leave, maybe we talk about that kind of stuff. But sorry, let me get back to what I was really trying to say. Is sports is a moment for, we represent our town. Not only do we love our players, but it's our city versus your city. And that's why these like derbies against Mannheim and Saarbrücken, they take on another level because, you know, any other team, yeah, our team is better than your team, whatever. But when you talk about the derbies, it's K-Town is better than your town. So it takes on a second meaning, you know, as a sport fan. You know, you're not only there to support your players and your team, but you have that level of pride, which, you know, you mentioned that you took your friend to his first football game, and it ended up being this 3-0 train wreck. So I'm sure that was like, oh man, I'm sorry that you had to see that. It's usually not this bad, but yeah, it's a big deal, you know. But remember in 2000, I think it was 2019, was it when we went to Meppen and it was 6-0?
Yeah.
Was that Meppen?
Yeah, it was Meppen.
And just think when I see these people leaving early, and I'm like, well, how many, like 2,000 or 3,000 fans that went to Meppen that had to drive, I think, 6 or 7 hours one way to get there, and then they had to sit through that, and they couldn't leave because what are you going to do? You're going to take the train home? Well, I mean, I guess you could, but a lot of people took the bus. But if these people can go and watch a 6-0, that's beyond train wreck. That's like a disaster. Yeah. If they can sit there and watch that, then you can stay at home in your stadium and watch another train wreck. But
well, I don't think that many people who were present at the at the match in Meppen were present in the West Curve and left. So yeah. But you were just saying like that we've gone one step back. That politics and football shouldn't be mixed. Usually I would agree, but you know, I'm strictly anti-racist. I think racism is a very stupid idea, and I can't stand with someone in the block who is live in Kaiserslautern and the what's the correct term? Werte, the Fritz Walter said it the best, the key to victory is friendship and the will to give everything for each other.
Yeah.
And he was not talking about skin color, not about sexual orientation or anything of this, or being handicapped or something. And I can't imagine standing there and having like an extremely racist next to me. And if you're extremely racist, why the hell are you cheering when Boyd, a black guy, is scoring a goal? So that doesn't make any sense. And so
it's called hypocrisy.
Yeah. And football is bringing people together. And getting splitted by racism or something doesn't make any sense to me. So I think that even though as I said, I agree that it in some points it is way too harsh, like in St. Pauli or something, they're real hardcore when it comes to politics in the stadium. This is too extreme. But being having like a straight thought of democracy, and showing this in your behavior and the way you run a football team is very, very important. I don't know if you know it, but there was the poker game between Mannheim and Nuremberg. And they were the stadium, the guy who's making like the show, the saying the players' names, the announcer, and
the PA announcer,
and he was there was a guy, and he died on the 16th now, and he greeted him, and he dedicated the players' names to him. You know what I mean? And he was he was called, and he was the most known skinhead in Germany.
Oh, wow.
He was a hooligan. He got like banned from the stadium a couple of times. He was because of extremely violence, like almost everything you can imagine. You can't represent a team like Waldhof Mannheim. Mannheim is a very colorful city with many immigrants and stuff. And say that this is okay, but and we like this. And on the other hand, you can't greet someone like him. Of course, he was a Mannheim fan, but well, he was also just an asshole. So for many people, politics is a very huge part of their life, as well as football, and making there a strict line is almost impossible. So, as I said in the beginning, when I stand with a racist in the block, he needs to be hating me because I'm visually handicapped. So I am not an Aryan guy because I'm a lower human being in his eyes. So. And then there are so many people sitting in front of the Südkurve in their wheelchairs. These are also, you know what I mean? And this is... I don't think that being anti-racist has anything to do with politics. It's like, for me, it is just humanly behavior. So this is just what I wanted to say about.
But that part I definitely agree with you, but that's a good ideology that I think most people, because when you say right or left, you know, there's a big gap between the two, and it's really what the media focuses on are the extreme people, the extreme right and then the extreme left. But I think the majority of the people, no matter if you're right wing or left wing, I think a lot of people hate racism on both sides. What I'm referring to are all these like special things, you know. If you're like, we have it in America, especially over the last 2 or 3 years with, you know, athletes kneeling during the national anthem. When, you know, every time that we have a game here in the U.S., we have the flag on the football field and everybody takes their hats off. And it was causing a big deal because a lot of these athletes were protesting the perceived police violence against African Americans, and they were kneeling during the national anthem, which people on the right would say that's disrespectful to the flag. People on the left would clap. And it's not so much a thing anymore because we're kind of past that, but that's just the thing that I was talking about. It's like, we don't need, if you want to protest that, do it outside the stadium. You have your Instagram and your social media. But when I go there to watch the match, I want to be pro-America, which means the good and the bad. Just like, in Germany is a beautiful country. It's got its problems, but it's also very forward thinking, and they've done so many good things. So don't hate the German flag for the bad things, but love it for the good things too. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. And to get this straight, I don't hate the German flag or something. I'm very happy to live in Germany. Don't get me wrong, but you just said it. You can show your protest on Instagram and stuff, but you have a kind of responsibility to when you're an athlete. Because I can talk for the Germans. There was usually I'm not listening to rap, but there is a song and they had a very good line. How do you call someone which you're trying to be, because he is in Germany we call it Vorbild. He's how do you call it?
Like idolizing, when you're trying to be like somebody.
Exactly, and the only idols we are having is someone who wears a jersey. There's no politician anymore or something, and when you're using your fame to show a very, unfortunately someone died, but it's always like it needs to happen something till something happens, like we're trying to call it, and police violence happens all over the world, and to show this, and you have like a very iconic position of your body, like the kneeling or something. I think this is okay, because I don't want to get in like a huge political discussion here, but I definitely can catch your drift. You want to go into the stadium, you just want to enjoy the show, the team, the game, the celebration, the chants and stuff. But on the other hand, as I said, it's always a little problematic for me to know that there are people who are... Brother, are you there? Back again. Did you know, because before we were rebuilding the stadium for the World Championship 2006, we had a different kind of way to go into the block, and on every block there were a huge swastika with a fist who was crashing it.
Oh wow!
Like just to show we're anti-racist, and I got called like so many times that I'm a left-wing person or a good human, which is used as an insult in Germany, Gutmensch, just because I'm anti-racist. And no, I'm not left-wing, definitely not. Communism and stuff is equally bad like National Socialism. So just screw this both sides and just having together a good time. And I don't care if the guy standing next to me is a homosexual or he is Jewish or a Muslim, or I just want to have my fun. But if there's someone who hates these people for stuff which they can't change in their life, I'm not accepting them. So, but don't get too deep into this freaking crap. We're talking about football here. So, getting to a way better.
Well, we deviated, but it's cool. We could have like, in fact, maybe we can even ask the audience if there's topics, because we always have like outside discussions outside of football. I'll talk about Cleveland sports or things. Maybe there are topics that people want us to talk about, like, You know, maybe once a week I can ask you a question that confuses me about German life, or
Yeah.
maybe one of the viewers can say, ask me a question about life in America, and have like a little bit of non-football talk, maybe for 15 minutes. You know,
No problem.
talk about stuff you see. I think it'll be fun.
Put it in the comments down below.
These are, yeah, exactly.
Or bro, do you got an Instagram account or something?
I sure do.
You should do.
I can. I will
send me the
I will
link
send
and I
you
put
that
it
information.
into the first comment as well as mine. So if you want to know anything, ask questions, feel free and write us a message. We would be very happy about it.
I love getting new followers from Germany every week or so, because I comment on the NFC Kaiserslautern Instagram account. And, you know, sometimes I'll put it in German. Other times I'm lazy and I don't Google Translate, so I'll put it in English. And I have a lot of K-Town stuff on my profile. So I'm always glad to get new followers from my second home. So feel free to follow.
Follow him,
like
guys.
Getting new extended family members.
Yeah. And one of the most great things in the last weeks were that a guy walked toward me and he introduced himself. He is from the base in America, and he just want to thank me and you for this stuff which we're doing here, this Talking K-Town, because he is always like excited to see these clips, and he just wrote me on Monday, I guess, Monday or Sunday, I have no idea, like beginning of the week, when the next video is coming online. So
nice,
yeah, this is
thank you
just
for
great.
Thank you for the support, man. Love it.
Me too. It's always fun to talk about football, and I really try my best talking English here, but see, I always miss some words. But
but I don't care about. I'm not a grammar professor, so you know I have never had any kind of problem understanding the point that you're making. You might not say it in the exact way that I would, but I have never had a problem understanding you, period.
That's great.
I mean, that's the most important part.
So we're talking about golf, right?
Yeah.
So Tiger Woods. No. Tomorrow, the game, brother. We're playing against Unser Rostock. Very...
Now, that's a crazy fan base. They're very passionate.
And hardcore.
Yeah.
But
I like our chances. I hope if I'm going to give my expectations, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to take a risk.
Okay.
And say that we're going to win. We're going to win 2-1. I think this is a game that after last week, the players are going to be like, "Look, we have to fix things."
Exactly.
And I think they go about and have a very, very good game. Hansa's right now in the 13th place in the table. We're 9. We were at 16 points, and they are at 14.
Yeah.
An old competitor from the third league days. When I came to K-Town, Unser Rostock was we saw them twice a year. So I always like playing these teams that we're familiar with over the last 3 years. You know, Magdeburg, Karlsruhe will be nice to see. Eintracht Braunschweig, Hansa. It's familiar to me to see them. You know.
Yeah.
So.
And we have a very lucky situation because at the last game against Greuther Fürth, I think they played last, they one of their main players got the yellow-red card, so he is out of the game. And 2 other players got their 5th yellow card, so they're both out of the game. And 2 of them are injured, and 1 of them can't play. So 4 of the regular players are not in the team. And the 5th one is not sure if he's going to play. So
okay,
this is, let's say, an advantage for us.
Yeah. Here's a question I have for you. I've only seen him play for maybe 5 minutes, but the new acquisition, Opoku.
Yeah.
When do you think we could see him start? Is he a starter, or I would like to see him get a shot to see what he can do. Maybe he's a catalyst.
I can't remember him playing against Regensburg, the Trainwreck game, but he was playing against the HSV, and there I always said, like, it is a good situation for us that we have Redondo on the left wing, which is a really fast player, and we have Opoku now on the right side, which is also very, very fast, and he can serve the balls and kick the balls into the box for Boyd. Hopefully he will start. I have no idea. I have really no idea, but I hope so.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I will be at work. What time does the match start in Hunza?
6:30 p.m.
Okay, so it'll be noon here.
Noon, yeah.
I'll still be at work, so I'll be trying to watch. You probably have your live stream.
Live stream's going on, yeah.
So I will have the live stream on at my desk. So you will be my eyes and ears for the match.
Oh, I try my best. Just let me know if you're there, and I will try to explain the situation a little in English.
Oh yeah, I'll send you a few super chats.
Oh, that would be very great. Thanks. But man, usually these games where you think like, okay, we can handle the situation and we can beat them, always end up a little problematic, but man, I think we can make it. We can make it, and we will make it. Yeah.
Well, let's get ahead early. I don't want to play from behind again. Let's, Coach, if you're listening, play an offensive game. Don't settle and just get lucky.
Exactly.
Press like we did at the end of the second half of the season last year. We were on the attack.
Yep.
Do it right off the bat.
Right off the bat, from the beginning on, 90 minutes straight attack and offense. This is... Am I the only one who's thinking, like, when we were one goal ahead, we were like, okay, we're one goal ahead, and now we're verwalten es. We tried to call it, like, okay, just kick the ball here and there and don't be aggressive anymore. This is really grinding my gears, because I always think, when I would be a player, I would always think, like, I want to play for the fans, and they don't want to cheer like just in the 12th minute. They want to cheer in the 12th, in the 30th, in the 49th, and in the 73rd or something. Yeah. Like, make a game for the fans.
Yeah.
We need this.
Yeah. Just set the tone is what we call it in the States. Set the tone of what you want to do.
Exactly. This was what I'm trying to say.
One thing that happens in American football, if you watch like the NFL, at the end of the games, and it's the worst concept, but it still goes on. They call it a prevent defense, where they will. It's usually at the end of the game, where there's very few minutes left, and the defense, they don't want to give up a big play, so they put all of their defenders back, but they will allow short passes up the field. And usually the joke is they'll say, the only thing that a prevent defense does is it prevents your team to win, because you may not give a big play, but you'll give up a lot of little plays that add up to them winning. So if we get ahead, we can't be satisfied with ourselves and say, okay, now we're gonna play defense, and we're just gonna keep the ball out of the box. No, you keep pressing, keep them on their heels so they can't relax.
Exactly.
Give them different looks.
This is what we need tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or today, in fact.
Oh yeah.
Today.
Well, yeah, it's today there.
Today in Germany, yeah.
Well, let's probably wrap this up because I have to get to the store before they close here in 30 minutes.
Okay.
I will definitely send you a message with my Instagram information.
Thank you.
Once again, for anybody that's watching, anybody that has anything that they want to talk about for a future show, drop it in the comments. Message Matze on WhatsApp. I'm sure you guys have his number. Yeah, but we like to have
message my good friend via Instagram.
Yep. You know, it's mainly just us talking, but we want to get everybody. We want to make this fun for anybody that's watching.
Exactly.
We not only talk football, we talk sometimes. I'll talk about
anything else.
What's going on over here, you know, and it's a little bit of a variety show. So, speaking of,
it's a surprise bag.
Yeah. Speaking of, isn't right now Kerva in Kaiserslautern right now? Isn't Kerva going on right now? I think in the Messeplatz. I think.
I think so, but I wouldn't bet on it because I don't live in Kaiserslautern, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. I saw a friend of mine post a picture of them walking through. It looked like the Kerva because you had like the carnival games. I miss that, man. I miss the Hähnchen tent.
Yeah, man.
You've been there. The Hähnchen tent, right?
Yep.
In the Kerva.
Yep.
The one I got to tell you the story. And then it'll probably be it for me. But in 2019, I went to the Lauter Kerva. It was really close to where I work because I worked on the American base there right around the corner. And it was a Friday. A few of my work colleagues and a few of my German work colleagues say, hey, let's go to the Kerva, to the Hähnchen tent and get a half chicken with hummus.
Yeah.
And we walked into the big tent and said, we have to get there at 11 o'clock because you're getting the fresh chicken. Whereas if you go at 2 o'clock, the thing's been sitting out there all day.
Yeah.
You know, so we went there early. We sat down, I think, at around 11:30. I finished my chicken around, I think, 11:50. And I told my friend, I had to get back to work because I was doing something. I think I was replacing a laptop for one of my my employees.
Mm-hmm.
And I hopped in my car and drove my coworker back. 15 minutes later, my phone went off, and it was one of my German coworkers said, if you would have stayed 5 more minutes, Erfährst just walked into the tent and sat down and had a meal with, I think, some of his friends. I would have gotten to meet a legend.
Oh, my God.
I can't. He's passed away, but
yeah,
Erfährst walked in literally 5 minutes after I walked out. But I do have 2 of his autographs from a friend of mine. Michael Matze does has a flow market there in Siedlerhof. He does where you go into a home where maybe somebody had passed away, and they clean out the house of furniture and they sell it in his store. He comes across so much awesome memorabilia from FC Kaiserslautern, autographs with Fritz Walter, shoes, banners, and he gave me a Erfährst autograph picture that I have. Actually, hold on, let me get it.
Man, I'm so dark again. What the hell?
But I don't know if you can see it. It's blending in.
Yeah.
But that's my
God, that is awesome.
That I have down here that he gave me. He found it in a house and said, "You have Fritz Walter's autograph. Well, here's Erfährst, the living legend." And I'm still to this day so upset that I should have just stayed there 5 more minutes and shook his hand and, you know,
took a picture with him or something.
English at all, but I think he probably spoke a little bit of English. But just to tell him how much, you know, I'm a fan of you know, the 1950s.
Well, you had a German coworker, so he could have translated.
Oh yeah, but yep, that was my almost meeting Erfährst moment, and now he's gone up there in heaven with Fritz Walter and the rest of the team, and hopefully giving us a little bit of luck tomorrow. against
Hopefully.
Unser Rostock.
They will, I'm sure. Okay, brother. Thank you very much for the extremely nice time again. It is always a pleasure with you together making this video. It is always so much fun. And guys, I hope you enjoyed it as well. And bro, 3 points tomorrow.
3 points.
And see you in the blog.